Ministry of Education Entrepreneur System, Ministry of Education Innovation Cell, Banaras Hindu University. And with this, Ambrish Nigam is one of the entrepreneur from I am audible now? Hello?
Yeah, you are audible.
Thank you. Experienced entrepreneur and product manager with more than 11 years of experience in delivering breakthrough web and mobile products and solutions for e-commerce, edutech, and the internet industry. Alumnus of IIT BHU and have made successful exits from 2 startups and invested into 3 startups. Currently working on the domain of product management, delivering edtech products catering to the user base of 13 countries. Very good, Amrizi, and welcome on behalf of Department of Applied Art, Faculty of Visual Art, Banaras Hindu University, under the forum of Ministry of Education Innovation Cell, Institutions Innovation Council, BHU. Now I'm requesting you to please explore so many things for the students under the today's topic. And if possible, it will be interactive session, that it will be good. I'm requesting to participants also, please be interactive on this session. Welcome everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Manish Arora. And I'm very much thankful for such a nice introduction and for BHU giving me a chance to share my knowledge on venture capital and angel investing. I have as you told me, all the participants, that I have been myself being an entrepreneur for more than 11 years and did work into product management. I'm currently working into the product management also in the edtech domain. So today I would be primarily be talking about how to approach a VC, if you have a startup, or if you have an idea on which you want to work upon and start up a company. I will tell you how to approach a VC and what are the options to exist in terms of funding. What are the pros and cons of the funding with a VC? What are the pros and cons of the funding with a VC? What myths do exist in the market, and some suggestions to keep in mind while you approach them. So I would be sharing of the presentation. Can you all see it? Okay. So firstly, first to start with, first you need to understand why we need funds for, if you have a project or a product, or if you started a company, then why you need a fund for? Maybe you need to expand your market sector, or you need to develop your end-to-end product, or you need to research, or you need to go for a branding sector. So you need to have a clear end-to-end vision for it. If you don't have a vision, where you would be utilizing the funds, then I don't think so anyone would be willing to invest into your idea or into your project. See, angel investors or venture capitalists, they all are primarily who have started their own startup, or maybe have run large corporations. So they have a clear understanding what to look for and what not to look for, and if they invest money, how it should be grown up to. So, and see, investing into a startup is a little bit of a risky kind of a business. So they do tend to invest somewhere close to 10% of their corpus amount, which they have kept aside for investment, and they look for maybe close to 10 times of 10 times of a return as compared to the investment in a tenure of maybe 3 to 5 years. So you need to have a clear understanding and a clear vision like how you would be utilizing the fund, like and you need also have like a clear understanding, like how much fund do you need. Maybe like for example, like you need like a 10 lakh of a fund, like just to build your product, and angel investor comes up and like he asks you like he is ready to give you 1 crore of fund, like how you would be utilizing or how you would be mobilizing that fund. So you need to have a like, clear vision, like how you could grow your business or how you could mobilize that fund. If the VC or the angel investor has given you 1 crore of fund, and maybe like you could be utilizing like 20 to 30 lakhs, and the rest is like kept ideal in the bank account. That's not an ideal scenario. So they also want that the amount should be utilized in a justified manner, right? So that's the thing. So now I would be talking about like what are the existing funding options that exist in the market, or like what you can utilize for funding your startup. So for the very first like is the bootstrap funding. That is one of the like safest option that exists, and that is like you would be investing money from your own personal savings to fund your idea. And this is the most appealing source of financing because you own money to jumpstart your business, and you don't owe anyone else in the process. And the pros is pretty much visible. Like take your you have your total end-to-end control of your own business. You may do as you please with your money. There's there's this satisfaction that you are using your own cash to fund the business, right? But the cons of it, like if the business fails, all the hard work that you have put into your own savings will go waste. Or if you miss out on otherwise valuable guidance and the mentorship from the angel investors and the venture capitalists. Yeah. So the second option, like you can go up for like you can take money from your friends or family members. You can request them or your close associates to help you fund your business. And this type of funding has more to do with the relationship itself. See, your family or friends, they know you since a long time, right? So they would be, if you have any idea or a project, or you wanted to run your own startup, they know you how much committed you are towards your idea, or how much committed you are towards your own beliefs, uh, and till what extent you are ready to go to make that idea successful. So this type of funding has to do more with the relationship itself rather than like a assessment of a feasible business plan. And when you are asking money from your friends or family, obviously they can give you money at a very cheap rates, and sometimes they don't even like charge you any interest. And this kind of funding is pretty much fast as compared to other forms of funding where you have to like be involved in a lot of paperwork, and there are a lot of terms and conditions which are involved with other kind of funding. So and the third type that goes is with the bank loans. Bank loans, as the name suggests, uh, they are like available through the existing banks itself. And bank loans happens to be a quite a popular source of funding for many startups. before applying for a bank loan, you have to be like educated about like what are the terms and conditions, what are the interest rate, and acquiring a bank loan is pretty much tough because you need to have like a collateral against your bank loan, and that is not quite a feasible plan for a startup because you don't maybe like if you have like a big collateral property like which against which you can take a loan, then it's okay. But even if a property that is worth of maybe like a crore, you can get a maximum loan of like 70 lakhs. Can't get a loan much above that. So, and bank loan depends on like the credibility which you have till that time, not on the plans or the which you would be building looking up onto the future, right? So bank loan depends on your credit rating, not on the business venture, or not the merit of your idea. So and the fourth type goes with the crowdfunding. Crowdfunding like happens to be like one of the most popular kind of a funding in present scenario. If you have like a consumer facing product, and this really involves funding a business by like taking small amounts from a large number of people, usually via the internet. You float an idea, you market it out like and you ask for a fund, and in return you may maybe give out a subscription of your product or a service, or maybe like you can deliver your product. So this also gives a validity of your product. Like if people are liking it, this obviously gives a validity of your hypothesis that you are building around. So this type of funding makes use of a vast network you have of your friends, family, colleagues via different social media platforms to get the word out about your business, the goals of attracting new investors. And it's really a good option, but this too comes with a con. Like you have to like dedicate a lot of time and energy in marketing your idea, and obviously have to like wait patiently and for the results to be realized. You don't uh, in the crowdfunding domain, the results can't just turn out like maybe like in just like 10 to 15 days, right? You have to like maybe like wait for months for the results to turn up. So, and when it comes to like angel investors, like as I did told you, like angel investors are wealthy individual who will provide funding in exchange for a share of equity in the business. So some investors work in groups and screen deals together before providing funds, while most work on their own. So and some of the angel investors, they do work only for profit, and some do work or they do invest into the areas which are they are much more passionate about. So the pros with the angel investors is very much high. Like angel investors can offer valuable advice and guidance since they have experience in the industry you are working in, and they do come up with a much more flexible business terms that they are not very much stringent about like about the equity or about the terms and conditions that have to be finalized, right? But the downside of it, like you may be like forced to give up control of your business to some extent to the investor who's taking an equity in your company, right? So, and coming up to the last one, the venture capital. Venture capitalists are primarily like the investors who put in considerable amount of money in exchange for equity in the business and get returns when the business goes public or is acquired by another company. So venture capitalists, they do come when you have gone through the angel investment round, you have gone through the bootstrap or maybe like the seed investment round. So venture capitalists come at a stage when you have like matured uh, your business. You have like a set amount of revenue. You have like the set business plan. You have like streamlined your supply chain and all those things. Like you have like a fixed bottom line of your business. So venture capitalists jump into your onto the opportunity and like grabbing equity out of your company, and in return they would be promising a hefty amount along with a very valuable advice along with their own set of network. And if you have like any issues like in running your business, they also can hook you up with very good talent actually. So that's the option with the venture capital funding. So as I did told you like what could be the funding ladder. So the funding ladder exists like first you have the seed round. As you can like see like in the step one, like you would be having like pre-seed, or you would be investing the money from your own pocket or from your own savings to to maybe like build a prototype from your own with the hypothesis you are believing in. So an entrepreneur is like should be certain like how much amount or he or she like can contribute from his pocket, and assets of all your investment are saving kept in multiple accounts like so you can obviously like approach friends and family like when you mature up to the seed round, and you can ask for like money. Like, this does do not involve much of a complexity. And as I did told you about like the second step of the venture capital fund, how it goes. So the most interesting is the step three, when you go up with the Series A, Series B, and the Series C. So the Series A investment, it does comes with like being the very first round of the funding. Like they don't ask for like external funding access. So startups have formulated a specific plan for their product or service, and the Series A is like mostly used for marketing and improving their brand credibility and tapping new markets and helping the business grow. So that's pretty much defined. Like and if you wanted to grow further and you see the potential, you see the markets turning in your favor, you would be and you need money to capture new user base, then you would be going for Series B, like when a and that Series B is seriously like it portrays the product is marketed right, and the customers are actually like buying the product or service as dedicated earlier. So such funding like seriously help a business in paying the salaries, like hiring more staff, like improving the infrastructure and establishing it at a like global level. Like you can like go up and like, scale to new countries or new markets. So you would be needing money for that. So Series B do exist for that kind of round. And when we come for like the Series C, so I can say that like when a startup can receive as many rounds as investment as possible, but there is no certain restriction on it. However, during the Series C investment, the owners as well as the investors are pretty cautious about the funding round. The more the investment round, the more they realize the business equity, right? But this really comes in when you are much more closer to like launching your own IPO, like as like Zomato has like recently launched their IPO. But before that, like they have like seriously market out there services, like they did capture a huge user base, not just in India, but like also like across like many global market. So that's how like they use like future funding for. So, and when it comes to the IPO, like IPO is a stage like which any startup would always like aim for, or any like investor would aim for. So when a startup like decides to raise funds from the public, like including the investors as the by selling their shares, so that's called an IPO, or like initial public offering. So IPO is like commonly related to like going public, as like it's not an obligation for the founders to disclose their financial statement before public, but if they go for an IPO, but the company must submit information related to financial statement. So obviously, like you have to like raise money from the public, like you have to like open your terms. But this seriously, like when you are going for the IPO, like your customers or your consumers, they tend to become your investors also. So it's a very funny line to say, like a line that divides the customers and the investors, that tend to get blurred up in the IPO round. So that's how the funding ladder goes. Well, as like sir did mention, like I have like invested into few startups before. So I can say that like there are a lot of things which investors see into the startups. And the very first thing, see, a startup, investing into a startup is a risky business. Most of the startups, they do tend to fail. And when it comes to VC or an Indian investors, if a startup has failed, like you startup doesn't have I mean, like financial or moral obligation in returning their money. Uh, as an investor, if you have an investment into a startup, money that money like has just tanked out. You can't do anything. So VCs or like angel investors, they do take care a lot of things, or they have like a very stringent criteria to look up for before they put in their hard earned money into your idea, right? Because your idea can be just a hypothesis. Maybe like in the very initial days, that you wouldn't be having like any business plan, or you wouldn't be having like any uh, a plan, like how you would be like uh, generating money for your business, or maybe like you wouldn't be having like any break even point. If you take the example of a Flipkart or Myntra or Zomato, like none of these startups, or even like Paytm, none of these startups have like even like touched any break-even point, even like in a single quarter. not even Amazon. Like Amazon, like have like touched break even like only just for like 8 quarters. That's it. Amazon started back in like 1994 or 95. Like so from that time to, like till now, like Amazon never have like gone into a profitable side. So when an investor like invest into your startup, like they do look for like you have like a solid management. So with a solid management, I tend to mean like quite simply like a management is by far the most important factor that smart investors like take into consideration. So venture capitalists invest into a management team basically like they they do tend to like invest into idea, but the team is the very first important thing they tend to invest in. If the team isn't strong, they wouldn't be ready to invest their money. So with a management team, like it's when I say that the team, then I mean like it's the ability to execute on a business plan and and they are also like looking up for businesses like, who can like grow in scale. So and the businesses can grow when the team is qualified and when the team is having a vision like how they can grow their startup and when the team is at the central role of the company, the company's development. So businesses that lack talented people that don't grow much actually. And the one of the foremost idea in failing in a startup failure is that you haven't like built a very strong team which can take your product or your idea to a larger scale, right? And the second most important point is like the size of the market. So if you if I say like demonstrating that the business will target a large addressable market opportunity, that is the very most important that's also happens to be a quite an important criteria for grabbing the venture capitalist attention. And for venture capitalists, like large typically means a market like that can generate like a 1 billion or a 2 billion or more in revenues. In order to receive the large returns that they expect from the investment, venture capitalists generally want to ensure that their portfolio companies have a chance of growing sales worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And venture capitalists, even like they aren't wrong at their end, like they are ready to invest into something like which has like a very high chance of failure. So they would also like expect a higher return from it. So and higher return can only come from when you have a, like a very large market to address to, right? So the bigger the market size, the greater the likelihood of a like trade sale, making the business even more exciting for the venture capitalists looking for potential ways to from exit their investment. So ideally, the business will grow fast enough for them to make first or the second place in the market, right? If you say like the in terms of like e-commerce, there are many like e-commerce brands that exist in the market. But if I ask like what are the names like that first comes up to your mind when I say e-commerce, it would be like maybe like Amazon or maybe like Flipkart or Myntra, right? So no one would say like a e-commerce player that exists in the market, maybe like a Bewgoo.com or maybe like a Shopclue. So if you aren't like maybe like the first or the second runner up in the market, then they wouldn't be uh, very much happy with their kind of an investment. So venture capitalists expect business plans to include like a detailed market and like size analysis, and market sizing should be presented from the top to bottom. So from top down approach, like, and not the bottom up approach, right? And that means providing third party estimate in terms of like market research reports and also the feedback from the potential customers that so this should show their willingness to buy out and like pay for the business products, right? So now coming to the next point, like, so when I say like great products with competitive edge, that that really means like investors want to invest in great products and services with a competitive edge that is long lasting. They really look for a solution to a real burning problem that hasn't been solved before by other companies in the marketplace. They look for products and services that customers can't do without because it's so much better or because it's so much cheaper than anything else in the market. And venture capitalists look for a competitive advantage in the market. They want their portfolio companies to be able to generate sales and profits before competitors enter the market and reduce profitability. So let me explain this point from example. Like everyone knows Gillette as a company. Like Gillette is the very first company that introduced razor blades in the market. Uh, and prior to Gillette, like shaving was really a tedious task. Like you have to like it was not easy to do accomplish the task and also it wasn't much more like safe. So Gillette thought of like why not uh, develop a blade uh, that is easy to use and also like can be thrown out and you can like use like a cycle plate or maybe like a refillable kind of a system. That's how like a disposable blade was made, and that really introduced a completely new market segment. So investors do look for such kind of a products or services, right? You can take the example of an Oyo. Oyo is is the very first company that introduced uh, I should say uh, cheap price. They did introduce a very streamlined kind of services to even to the the cheap hotel scenario. The prices are very much fixed. They do tend to like vary prices like from the very single location. The quality or the kind of service that is being or delivered like from one hotel to the another is like quite very much similar. Like you would be getting uh, a AC or internet connection or Wi-Fi connection, cleanliness, and all those things like that are maintained, right? So this kind of service prior to Oyo wasn't there. though like Make My Trip or big brands like Taj or Hilton, they were like catering to the richer segment of the market, but there were like no such category that tend to service like the medium income group. So that's how like OYO started actually. So but coming on to the next point. So when I say like the assessment of the risk, like we see wouldn't invest their money like into a market, into a service or a product like which may be uh, uh, hurting the sentiments of the people, or maybe like could be uh, politically inclined, so they wouldn't do that, like, or like they wouldn't be ready to invest money which could attract like legal issues, or maybe like that could be a risk, like if you like expand from one entity to the other. So they don't tend to like invest in such kind of business. Like maybe like the returns could be very much higher, like, but they wouldn't be willing to get their names associated with such products or services, right? So, and coming on to the last point, like when I talk about like there's a strong bottom line, I should say like the the rewards of a like spectacularly successful high return investment can be spoiled by money losing investments, right? So before putting money into an opportunity, venture capitalists spend a lot of time vetting them and looking for key ingredients to success. They want to know whether the management is up to the task, the size of the market opportunity, and whether the product has what it takes to make money. Moreover, they want to reduce the riskiness of the business, of the opportunity. And the venture capitalists always look for if you have like a strong like end-to-end business plan, if you have like a strong end-to-end like marketing plan. So if you are losing money, then to even like acquire customers, or maybe like I had to acquire your raw material, or I should say like uh, the supply side, uh, or the sourcing side. So they wouldn't be ready to invest in such kind of business. So okay, so when I say like uh, see venture capitalists, they have like come with a lot of experience. So when you attract a venture capitalist firm or an angel investor, you just don't ask them to just transfer their money into your company. You tend to ask them to join your company's board, because they come with a lot of experience and expertise actually. And when a investor is willing to invest, the first thing they tend to do is like they want to check the leakage, like uh, or I should say they want to do a complete health checkup of your company or your project. They want to look for the market viability. They want to look for the complete end-to-end business plan. They want to look for a complete end-to-end execution plan, and that really helps you out also, because you tend to get to know your weaknesses, you tend to know your loopholes, right? And you can obviously fix them. So, an investor seriously check these points out. And when I say like, obviously, like, investor is coming, like, they obviously would be investing their money, but they would also be getting you connected with larger venture capital firms, or maybe like with uh, good high net worth individuals would be ready to pour in more money so that your company could grow, and they can take a share from your project or your company, right? So that is one of the key aspect of business. And when a venture capitalist or when a angel investors invest their money, they also like give you freedom to like go out and experiment. It's a very old saying, like when no risk, no gain. Venture capitalist is the catalyst that results in the encouragement of entrepreneurship and risk taking, without which no profit could be materialized. If a business owner is not included to take risk, he would have to settle for the ordinary one. So venture capitalist is crucial for providing direct encouragement for a worthwhile business idea in the form of funding and expertise. And this really creates a tremendous amount of value. So, like earlier in a conversation, like I did mention about Flipkart. When the Flipkart was acquired, like it was acquired at a valuation of like, I think like close to like $16 billion. So maybe like you can say that like a company like who isn't like even making a, a rupee of a profit, how can how can such a venture be of like a value of like $16 billion? But like when you see like a Flipkart has like created an end-to-end like a new market, like a completely e-commerce domain like, within India. Like previous to like Flipkart, there was not much of a e-commerce understanding in the normal market, right? So they do tend like investors seriously they do tend to create a large value in your organization. Like they hook up you with great alliances, like venture capitalists or angel investors. They do come with a good industry experience. They do come up with good connects. They do come up with a network of highly talented people. So, and this really helps your business in scaling up. A venture capitalist, obviously, they like uh, get a profit out of your business. So he would be much more willing uh, to grow your business, and he would really connect you so that your business can grow. He can really hook you up with great uh, great skill set people, like so he can also help you in like a complete end-to-end team building. So let me give you an example of Canva. Canva.com is a really end-to-end like uh, presentation making platform. So the Canva founders, like when they did approach a few of the investors initially, so the investor, like he did straight away ask like, you should stop all your work. First, I'll let you get a good technical person in your team, and then we can like go ahead. So the investor did uh, get them a person who had like worked on the Google Maps, and after that they did had after the person like who came from Google Maps, like then their team became very strong, and that helped Canva to grow such an extent, like where they are like serving like millions of users around the world. So that is a role of an investor. Like, and when I say like, and also like venture capitalists like give you very good direction, like how you should how you can grow ahead like at a very faster pace. Like they have like experience like all this like, from their previous work knowledge, or like they have like invested into like similar kind of a company, so they can give you direction and help you grow, but nothing comes with downsides, like obviously like when it comes to VC, like there are some downsides which I say. So when anyone is joining your company, he as an investor he would be asking he would be asking to grab some equity out of your company, right? So he would be coming as a board member in your company. So, and now the new person would be having the say in a day-to-day activity of the company. They would be monitoring it. So as a founder of the company, you would be losing some control uh, from your company, right? And when it comes to VC, when investing is not a very easy task. Like it's like you have to be get involved into a lot of paperwork. It's like quite a complicated task. Like you have to get involved into like a lot of terms and conditions. They do tend to expect very huge returns, and that too early. Like sometimes like VC tend to pressurize you up, like so that like they can like mint out very huge returns like a very small amount of time, right? And sometimes like this kind of a strategy can like boom your business. Maybe like sometimes like this kind of a strategy would lead into you taking some wrong decisions, right? So that is like some of the downsides. But on an overall basis, I would say like uh, investor, see, no business can scale up without any money, right? You have to like invest, like you have to, either you have to invest from your pocket or you have to like attract investors. But as a founder or as a CEO of a company, the very first responsibility which you have to like fulfill is to make your company or make your venture like you should be like you shouldn't be having a liquidity crisis, I should say. You shouldn't be having a cash crisis. Well, cash or the money is a very important part of running a business. You have to like need money in your day-to-day operation. You have to need money like in expanding your business. You have to need money in a lot of things. So you can't deny it or you can't just ignore it. Well, and yes, there exist a lot of myths when it comes to like investors or venture capitalists. That maybe like if you share your idea, they would copy your idea and they can get their teams to work on your idea, and you would be like just left at the roadside. That isn't true actually. Like you, uh, if you have the idea and you want to work onto your startup, thousand other people would have like got the same idea, but you took the risk and you wanted to go ahead uh, with this idea to build a company around it. So you would be the most passionate one who wanted who wanted this idea to be successful, right? So the most important thing is like you would be the very first or you would be the one who has done the most research around that idea, and you would be knowing what uh, what is like what path could lead to the success, or what path could lead your startup going to in the train, right? So you would be the only one who would be much more willing or have the enthusiasm to execute the idea in the form of a company. So VC they don't see a VC they do get close to like maybe like 100 or 200 applications on an average on a yearly basis. So they screen all those ideas, they screen the team, and they aren't ready to like or they aren't much more willing to execute a company from the very first step. They are much more willing to invest and mint out profit. Right? And when like someone says like taking money from angel investor or venture capitalist is like completely risk free, it's actually a partial truth. Yes, you don't have any like obligation like if your company looms the venture capitalist money or the angel investors money would obviously be gone into the drain, but there are also like a downside. Like this is obviously like a positive side of, for a startup, but there are also downside. Like the investors sometimes they really put a lot of pressure to expand your business in a very small amount of time, or maybe like if you have like if they have like created an end-to-end meeting, maybe like in US or maybe like in Europe, or I know like a few of my friends like who have to even like postpone their family functions just to attend a venture capitalist meeting. The venture capitalist has like invested their money in their company, and they have to like go and attend that meeting, and they have to like shifts their family function. So when someone has invested some amount into your company, that does comes with some pressure. Like nothing is a free meal in this world. And venture capitalists and angel investors, when they sign a check for a company, they have already planned their exit strategy. Even if being you as a founder, even maybe you haven't planned any exit strategy from your company, but an investor always plans an exit strategy. He would always be ready to exit out of your company, maybe in 3 years or a 5-year tenure. Their main goal is profit, and the profit can only come if they sell out their stakes to other investors, or maybe they can make their company public so that they can dilute their shares in the public itself. So investors always plan their exit strategy. So okay, so that really comes to the end of the session. But I have just a few suggestions, when you approach a VC. So before that, you should always invest into your team first. With this, I mean you should always try to attract the best person in terms of the skill set for your company. If you are a technology company, then you should always attract the best person who can build up your product. If you are end-to-end manufacturing, then you should always try to or tend to attract the one who has a good operational experiences, who have good manufacturing experience, right? So you should always tend to invest first into your team, then any other thing. Investing into your team is the very first best investment you can do actually. And when you are approaching a VC, you should prior to that, you should be you should have maybe you should have prepared an end-to-end proposal, pitching deck for it, so that you can be much more precise in what you are seeking up for. Maybe you are seeking money, maybe for end-to-end product development, or maybe for marketing, or maybe for expanding your business, or maybe your team. So you should be precise and clear with the money you are trying to attract, and you should be very much natural and humble. Actually, with natural, I should say if you are comfortable in Hindi, then go with it. Actually, no one really cares. All they care about is are you good in your work or not? They don't care about the language. Actually, language is just a medium to convey what you're trying to say, right? English, Hindi, Urdu, Bangla, Gujarati, that doesn't matter. You should be natural, because a VC would be working along with you for a very long time. If he has invested in a company, he would be working along with you maybe for 3 or 4 years. So if you aren't natural, or if you are faking, they can really judge you up. They can uh, they can understand like, you are trying to fake out something, or they can't really trust you because they can think maybe like maybe you could have like hidden some figures at the initial stage. So, and they all are like industry veterans, like they have like already run their own startup. So they do know like what are the like issues that come into the business. So if you are like trying to fake up something like maybe like you can like grab such market, such amount of maybe like X amount of a market in by amount of time, and if that isn't practical, so they wouldn't be like investing their money into your venture actually. So, and the second last thing which I would say like is like you should be ready to listen no actually, like many of the investors or uh, venture capitalists, like they would be rejecting your idea. So you should be comfortable in listening no, and you should be comfortable in improving yourself after, like from the feedback like you get from them, right? And you should also be ready to say no to VCs who aren't being or who aren't getting aligned with your vision. Maybe like some of the investors they only like come with just the money, nothing else. So you shouldn't be uh, taking you shouldn't be accepting investment from them, because apart from money they aren't coming with any expertise or maybe any other things, like they can't bring any other things on the table, right? So you shouldn't be willing to take money from such kind of investors. So you should be ready to say no. So that's up from my side. Actually, look,
Thank you, Amriji. Thank you for your valuable presence and very well presented the things related with venture capital and innovation, entrepreneurship, and establishment of a startup. Now, forum is open for question. Participants, if you have any questions, please raise. You, Shivam, Mahima, anyone have any questions?
Yes, sir, I have to ask some questions from the sir.
Please, please.
please go ahead.
Sir, I have to ask that, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I have to
Yeah.
ask that if the startups manage to get the funds, but
Yeah.
if they don't have the big names that they have done the startups, then how do they will manage to get that fund?
See, if you have a like clear end-to-end understanding of the business, or if you have like clear vision, like how you would be scaling your project or a product, and if you know like how to build your complete team, so anyone would be willing to invest into your company. See, big names doesn't matter much actually. Like what matters is like what is your execution strategy, like how you would be taking things ahead. See, when I say, let me explain this with example. Like this, when Facebook started, prior to Facebook, there were companies which were working into social networking domain. There were companies like Friendster or similar names. But Facebook came up with a quite good execution strategy, and that really helped Facebook to scale up with in a very small amount of time. So strategy, like the vision and the strategy, that matters the most. See, I've said in my presentation also, like the team is the most strongest part. Like the team, how you are trying to scale up, how you are trying to build your product. That is the most important thing. Nothing else.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mema,
Thank
for your valuable question. And now, on behalf of Ministry of Education, Innovation Cell, Institutions Innovation Council, Banaras Hindu University, as a
Yeah.
coordinator, Manish Arora, faculty member, Department of Applied Art, Faculty of Visual Art, Banaras Hindu University, is giving lots of thanks to Amrish Nigamji for their valuable presentation and giving time and valuable inputs with more than 10-year experience in the industry. And thank you, participants. Our next session is on 26 and 27 also. We will connect it. Thank you, Ambrishji, and hopefully we will connect future in our some of the other session also.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.